Hello everyone. Today we will study about the human liver. This is the specimen of a human liver. The human liver occupies the right hypochondriac epigastrium and the left hypochondriac region of the abdomen. And in males, it weigh about 1600 grams, and in females it weigh about 1300 grams. So this is the specimen of a human liver. This is the anterior surface of the liver. Anterior surface of the liver, and you can see that it is convex in shape. This is the inner part of the liver, the inner area of the liver. The inner part of the liver has been divided into two surfaces. The superior part is known as the posterior surface. This much is the posterior surface of the liver, and this is the inferior surface of the liver. Between the posterior and the inferior surface, we can see this is the porta hepatis of the liver. Porta hepatis is coming between inferior surface and the posterior surface of the liver. And this is the superior surface of the liver. And this is the right lateral surface of the liver. On the anterior surface, we can see one vertical ligament is present. This ligament is known as ligament falciform ligament, and this ligament is dividing the liver into two lobes, the right lobe and the left lobe. The right lobe is greater than the left lobe. On the superior surface of the liver, we can see one ligament is running on the superior surface of the liver. The name of this ligament is coronary ligament. Its name is coronary because it is present on the superior surface of the liver as a crown, and on each side of the coronary ligament, one ligament is present, is known as triangular ligament. On left side, it is known as left triangular ligament. On the right side, it is known as right triangular ligament. On the posterior surface of the liver, two lobes are also present. On the posterior surface, this lobe is present. This is known as the caudate lobe of the liver. And on the inferior surface, this lobe is present, and this is known as the quadrate lobe of the liver. And this area is the posterior surface of the left lobe of the liver, and this area is the posterior surface of the right lobe of the liver. So the fissure which is present between the caudate lobe and the posterior surface of the left lobe of venosum, this ligament is known as the ligamentum venosum. On the inferior surface of the liver, between the quadrate lobe and the posterior surface of the left lobe, a ligament is present that is known as ligamentum teres. This is the ligamentum teres. So in liver, one ligament is present that is known as the falciform ligament, that is present on the anterior surface of the liver. On the superior surface, coronary ligament is present, and on each side of the coronary ligament, triangular ligaments are present. Right triangular ligament is present on the right lobe of the liver, and left triangular ligament is present on the left lobe of the liver. Ligamentum venosum is present between the caudate lobe and the posterior surface of the left lobe of the liver. Ligamentum teres is present between the quadrate lobe and the posterior surface of the left lobe of the liver. So these all are the ligaments which are present on the liver. Now we will study about the lobes of the liver. There are 4 lobes of the liver. Anteriorly, we have seen a ligament, falciform ligament. This ligament is dividing the liver into 2 lobes, the right lobe and the left lobe. The right lobe is greater than the left lobe, and on the posterior surface, there are 2 lobes present. This is the caudate lobe. It is present on the posterior surface of the liver, and in the inferior surface, quadrate lobe is present. This is the quadrate lobe. Its name is quadrate because it is rectangular in shape and it is present in the inferior surface of the liver. And between the inferior surface and the posterior surface, one structure is present that is known as the porta hepatis. This is the porta hepatis of the liver. Porta hepatis is also known as the hilum of the liver. In porta hepatis, we can see this larger structure. It is the portal vein and 2 hepatic arteries are present, 1 and 2. These 2 are the hepatic arteries which are present in the porta hepatis, and lymphatic ducts are present. This is a lymphatic duct which is present in porta hepatis. You can see this is the lymphatic duct. So this is the porta hepatis. Now we will study about the borders of the caudate and the quadrate lobe. The caudate lobe, which is present on the posterior surface of the liver, its right side, its right border is being formed by the inferior vena cava. This is the inferior vena cava and it is forming the right border of the caudate lobe. And the fissure which is present between the caudate lobe and the posterior surface of the left lobe. This is the posterior surface of the left lobe. And the fissure which is present between the caudate lobe and the posterior surface of the left lobe, a ligament is present that is known as ligamentum venosum. So ligamentum venosum is forming the left border of the caudate lobe. And on the superior surface, the superior border of the caudate lobe is being formed by the coronary ligament. The inferior border of the caudate lobe is being formed by the porta hepatis. And now we will study about the borders of the quadrate lobe. The quadrate lobe, which is present in the inferior surface of the liver, its right border is being formed by the gallbladder, and the left border is being formed by the ligamentum teres, and superiorly porta hepatis is present, which is forming its superior border. The inferior border of the quadrate lobe is being formed by the inferior border of the liver. So these 2 are the borders of the caudate and the quadrate lobe. Now we will study about the visceral relations of the liver. Anteriorly, this is the anterior surface of the liver. So anteriorly, xiphisternum and diaphragm are forming its relations. Xiphisternum or the xiphoid process of the sternum and diaphragm are forming the relations of the liver anteriorly. On the superior surface of the liver, on the left side, we can see in the left lobe a depressed area is present on the left lobe because the heart is lodged on this lobe, on this area like this. That is why the left lobe is slightly depressed. On the 2 sides of the lobes, the right lobe and the left lobe, on the on each side of the lobes, our lungs are present. On the right lobe, the right lung is present. On the left lobe, the left lung is present. So these three structures are forming the superior relations of the liver. Left side, left lung, then heart, then right side, right lung. Now we will see the relations in the interior surface or the inner surface of the liver. This is the inner surface of the left lobe, and this is the inner surface of the right lobe. So in the inner surface of the left lobe, beside to caudate lobe, this is the area for the esophagus, and the remaining area of the inner surface of the left lobe is for the gastric area. This is the area of the stomach. The area of the quadrate lobe is for the pyloric antrum of the stomach, and in the right lobe of the liver, the inner surface of the right lobe, this is the area for the transverse colon. Above the transverse colon, duodenum is present. Above the duodenum, the right kidney is present. And above the right kidney, the right suprarenal gland is present. So these all are the visceral relations of the liver. Now, there are some bare areas which are present in the liver. Bare area means an area where there is no attachment of peritoneum or viscera is known as a bare area. On the anterior surface of the liver, a bare area is present in the right lobe of the liver. This is the bare area of the liver on the anterior surface on the right lobe, where there is no attachment of peritoneum or any viscera. On the posterior surface, the superior part of the right lobe of the posterior surface, this area is the bare area. It is present on the superior part of the posterior surface of the right lobe. There is no attachment of peritoneum or any viscera is present in this area. So this is known as a bare area. And the third bare area is present below the inferior vena cava. If we remove this inferior vena cava, then a hollow space will be there. Then that hollow space is not covered with any peritoneum. So the space below, the area below the inferior vena cava is also known as the bare area. And likewise, in the inferior surface of the liver, the gallbladder is present. If we remove the gallbladder, then there will be a vacant space or a hollow area, and the area below to the gallbladder, there is no attachment of peritoneum. So that is why this area is also known as the bare area of the liver. So this is all about the human liver, the features of the liver. Thank you so much.